Who's your target reader? If your answer is anyone who likes good books, know that you've just killed your query. Now, creating a reader avatar or a reader profile or whatever you want to call it might seem like marketing fluff, and that's probably in part due to the fact that it is a very common practice from other types of marketing. But I promise you this isn't a waste of time. You have to remember that something, not just a book, but in our case, books, that appeal to everyone will actually appeal to no one. Because no one is exactly the same, but if you have specifics, then people can hook into that and get interested. Think about it. Netflix doesn't recommend the same show to everyone. They know that their click-through rate would plummet if that were the case. Amazon doesn't show you the same products that it shows your cousin necessarily, because if they have kids and you don't, marketing diapers to you is pointless and might make you click off their site super fast before you make a different type of purchase. You want to have a specific audience because specific audiences can become passionate audiences, and passionate audiences are what sustain an author's career. So if you say, everyone will like my book, an agent is going to hear, I didn't do any market research, I don't understand how the market works, and I don't know how to position my book. But if you say, for fans of Rick Riordan, people are going to know that, oh, they like voicey characters, probably retelling mythology, and there is a grand sense of adventure. If you could be even more specific and say, for fans of Rick Riordan who want to explore a non-Eurocentric type of mythology, then you can get even more interest because you're being more specific, and an agent will then understand this author knows who their audience is. I know who to pitch this to, and this book has a clear marketing path. So please pull up your Reader Avatar Builder worksheet, and we're going to create a real, fake, real person who will devour your book. Step 1 is demographics, and this is not just age and not just gender. We're going to be talking about what do they like to read? How do they discover new books? Is it book talk? Is it the library in person? Is it an email newsletter? Is it friends in real life who talk about books? What is on their nightstand right now? What format of book do they read? Do they read physical, ebook, or audiobook, or a combination? Do they read in a specific format for a certain type of book? For example, I read nonfiction in physical copy more than I read fiction nowadays, although I am in love with all of Inimitable books as hardcovers because we put a lot of effort into making sure that there is bonus content, not just at the back of the book, but also underneath the dust jacket to justify the extra price. And then also, how many books do they read in a month? Remember, if you are marketing a fantasy book to someone with heavy world building, you should know that your reader is probably not going through a ton of those books in a single month. Now, if they're like me, maybe they are. But romance is known for voracious readers who will maybe go through a book a week, if not a book a day. So there is a difference of expectation in audience, and this is what we are going through right now. This next part is going to sound a little bit like, I thought this is for fiction writers, and you're asking me to think about things that would be better for nonfiction or self-help. But I promise you this matters. So, what is your reader's biggest life challenge? And what do they do for fun on the weekends? What TV shows do they binge? What keeps them up at night worrying about the future? And what makes them hopeful? There's also reading behavior. Do they finish every single book that they start no matter what, for good or bad? I used to believe that I couldn't DNF books. I would feel guilty and force myself to read until the very end, even if I hated a book. I no longer do that because I don't have the time, but some people still do. Do they read multiple books at once? That is something that to consider, because if your ideal reader does that, you're going to have to make sure that you keep their attention so that they don't eventually forget about your book or just give up on it in favor of the other titles that they're reading at the same time. Do they write reviews on Goodreads? This isn't necessarily about whether or not they're going to read your book, but it could be helpful in knowing if they can help spread the word about your book after having read it. Are they in book clubs or online reading communities? Again, it doesn't have to be Goodreads, but if they are, that potential word of mouth is very helpful. And do they pre-order books or wait for reader reviews from others before purchasing? This is, again, just knowing about their behavior. How much do you have to hook your ideal reader before they become a reader of yours? Let's pretend I'm filling this out for Until the Last Page by Chantal Godori. The ideal reader is Sarah, who's 28 years old, and yes, that is very close to my name and is my age at the time of me filming this, but the rest of this is mostly fake. So, Sarah is 28 years old. She works in corporate but dreams of something more creative. She reads 2 to 3 books per month, mostly on an e-reader during her commute. She follows book talk and trusts her friend recommendations over reviews by strangers or by industry outlets. She's really stressed about work-life balance and wondering if she's on the right career path. Growing up, she loved fairy tales and all things magic. She loved Once Upon a Time on ABC, and now binges rom-coms on Netflix in addition to books that make her feel deeply and maybe laugh out loud every so often. In addition to book talk, she discovers books through Instagram and YouTube and social media at large, and she always pre-orders from authors that she has loved in the past. She is looking for an escape, but also books that make her feel less alone during this quarter-life crisis. Now, like I said, I just described a fake person who shares a lot of similarities with me and also probably shares even more similarities with other people in real life. But what's really special about this reader avatar that I just created is that she actually shares a lot of characteristics with the main character of Until the Last Page, Jo. So if we can get the comp titles right and resonate with our reader in however we end up pitching the book, then we hopefully will get her to identify with the main character and then become interested in the rest of the book. Also, once you have a reader avatar, if you're planning on writing in the same genre or even the same series, you don't have to reinvent it every single time. However, if you have a book that has multiple angles, like Grandma's Secret by Becca C. Smith, which has a true crime angle, a paranormal angle, and a psychological thriller angle, you might want to make multiple reader avatars for those 3 types of things. Now, let's talk about how this can shape a query. Before the reader avatar, Chantal might have said, my book is a romance about a woman who falls into a book of fairy tales. I'm not saying she said this, but she might have thought it. After having created the reader profile, we can say, perfect for readers seeking both escape and relatability. This portal fantasy follows a disillusioned woman and her magical journey through familiar fairy tales that could reignite her belief in love. The first is a general hook, and even then it's a little bit flat. But then the second one speaks to a lot of the emotional pain points that our fake reader Sarah has, and we are offering her the things that she wants: escape, relatability, and finding joy. Your homework for this lesson is to complete the reader avatar worksheet, and you want to be specific. Give them a name, give them a backstory like I did, make them as real as possible. Pretend they're another character you're writing about. Talk about where they discover books and fill it out as completely as you can. And then I want you to share that in the community. Don't overthink this. Your first instinct about who will love your book is actually probably right, but it's about refining it so that you can use it as a guiding star in your query writing. And congratulations, you have completed Module 1. You have your genre locked down, you have solid comp titles, and now you know who your book is for. In Module 2, we're going to be talking about how you grab an agent's attention, starting with your one-sentence logline that'll make agents desperate to read more. You've built your foundation, now let's build the rest of your query.